Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is K-Boy Ultra, and today I want to talk about another Sonic.exe Asym game. This Sonic.exe Asym game is actually one of the most unique and immersive ones out there. This Asym game is called Sonic.exe Abyssal Escape. Now, what exactly about this Asym game makes it unique from all other Asyms, and what exactly is the roster looking like for the game? What makes Abyssal Escape unique is the fact that it does something I haven't seen other Sonic.exe Asyms even attempt, and that's the fact you are able to customize and create your own survivor. This means you can change their appearance, their moveset, emotes, animations, etc. This is actually something really unique, and again, I haven't seen other Sonic.exe Asyms do. It's kind of like if Sonic Forces was a Sonic.exe game, but not. Anyways, more about the survivor side of the gameplay for Abyssal Escape. If you're not interested in creating your own survivor, don't worry. The owner, whose name is Denzi, I'm pretty sure I said that, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, has made sure that you're not interested in playing as your own survivor, customizing your own survivor, then you can customize canon Sonic characters such as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. That way, if you want to play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, then, you can play as them. All you have to do is just customize their appearance and abilities. It's completely fine if you don't want to play as your own survivor. After all, so again, some people wouldn't be interested in playing their own survivor. They just want to play canon Sonic characters, and again, that is completely fine. Now, moving on to the killer roster of Abyssal Escape. The starter killer roster is actually going to look amazing. Again, considering that survivors are basically going to be customizable, they don't really have to worry about, unique movesets and such, and create whatever they want, as well as outfits and such. The killer roster for Abyssal Escape is going to look like this. Sonic.exe, or Crimson X, who is going to be the starter killer and is going to be free and such because, you gain rings by playing rounds and stuff. It's obvious, it's pretty obvious. Then we have 2017X, aka Broken Face, No More Innocence, Fleetway Super Sonic, who you all know that I'm going to be maining because, well, I'm a Fleetway guy. And finally, Furnace, or Furnace the Hedgehog. I don't really know what people call him. Just Furnace, And as y'all can see here, Abyssal Escape takes a really unique look. Other than, the obvious sort of TD and Pillar Chase inspired type of theme, I'm pretty sure that's the inspiration. It's definitely inspired by one of those. It takes a more realistic look in the Asym standard, which I think is pretty unique because not a lot of Sonic.exe Asyms go for a realistic factor. Some of them do go for a scary factor and, aura factor, but none of them has tried none of them has tried as much as Abyssal Escape for a realistic look, and I think that is really cool. Imagine Crimson X just appearing behind you instead of just seeing his, casual, sprite-looking smirk. You see that ugly, just freaking face behind you. That's crazy. Now, about the lore for Abyssal Escape. Before we get into the gameplay, this is just what I wanted to talk about real quick, because while this lore is pretty simple, I still do find it interesting. I find a lot of things interesting. I'm a pretty simple person. If something seems cool, I'm gonna like it. Now, the lore for Abyssal Escape. Pretty much, X basically got bored of playing the same little games over and over, which is kind of ironic coming from him. So, what did he do? Well, he created this own little space and brought in you guys, the vessels, or, customizable survivors, whatever you want to call it, for a little, endless little game of torture, pretty much. And he also invited some other killers, or just other people for, to host a killing game. Again, very simple lore, but it actually is in character and it fits with X pretty much. So I don't really have any complaints about it, other than it being kind of basic, but hey, it's whatever, it's your Asym, do whatever you want. W Denzi. Now, let's talk about how the game works and how rounds go in Abyssal Escape. Basically, for the killer side of gameplay, they will get stronger as the round goes on. Every round is basically pretty much 10 minutes, so, survivors have a lot of time and, need to, well, survive. But as the round goes on, the killers will actually get progressively stronger. They will start with phases. Phase 1 is pretty much their normal state when the round first starts. However, when there is about 8 minutes left, then phase 2 begins, and when around 6 minutes left, then phase 3 begins. Different phases can actually affect killers' gameplay from minor to major buffs to completely changing the game and how they act. For example, transformations. 2017X and No More Innocence will actually be able to transform, which is going to be pretty crazy when you think about it. I'm definitely manning 2017X because, I'm a pretty simple guy. I like 2017X, one of my favorite EXEs. I don't know about No More Innocence though. Maybe I'll try this moveset. I haven't really gotten to experience any playstyles with anything related to No More Innocence, so I'll probably have to try it out. But yeah, that's pretty much how the gameplay will work for killers. For survivors, Now, as said, the round timer is 10 minutes, and when there's around 1 minute left, then survivors will have a chance to escape in the escape ring. However, they can actually lower the timer by collecting things called X's presence around the map. This is how you pretty much lower the timer so people can, try to escape faster. And as well, for survivors, there will be an LMS thing. However, not like literally every survivor in the game is going to get a custom LMS, obviously. It's actually going to work like this. There will be special LMS songs, I'm pretty sure, depending on your customization around the survivor. For example, if your survivor is based around speed like Sonic, then you will get a Sonic like LMS. If it's based around engineer like Tails, then you'll get like a Tails type of LMS. Pretty much that's how it's going to work. I find this very interesting and cool for Abyssal Escape, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Oh my god, I'm so excited, bro. And another fun thing about Abyssal Escape that I'm pretty sure you all can already tell, depending if I put footage there or not, but this game is another one that actually has gameplay and not 9 million renders. Kind of like Project Execution, but, actual more gameplay, which is, really cool. And you know what's really fun? The gameplay that I'm actually showing on screen was my gameplay. That's right, me, K-Boy Ultra, myself, got to playtest Abyssal Escape. It was actually really fun. Although I suck at the game, and also I was having controller issues at the time, and the owner was low-key just, beating the brakes off of me, but we don't talk about that, okay? Let's get into abilities for killers and survivors. Starting off with the most completed killer, if not already complete, X, or Crimson X. I don't know what you guys want me to call him. Starting off with X's first ability, Hide and Seek. He will turn invisible for a limited amount of time and gain a slightly faster run speed if I'm not mistaken. Once making contact with the survivor, he will actually damage them and cause the survivor to be stunned for a little bit. This is pretty much your average invisibility move, but this one can actually do damage to survivors, which is something I think is actually pretty cool because, it's not every day you get to see a move that actually damages survivors involving invisibility. So that's pretty cool. His next ability is Ring Trap. Basically, X will snap his fingers and, spawn rings around the map. These can be used as teleporting points once being clicked on. I had trouble using this ability because, I suck at the game, and also I'm pretty sure there was no controller support for this ability. Hopefully there will be controller support eventually because, as you guys know, I play a controller. Who knows, maybe they can be teleported to with the D-pad or something. I don't know. I just I just really need some assistance with that. But yeah, that's pretty much what Ring Trap does. Where he can teleport to the different rings, although it does take time for him to transport. And when a survivor runs into a ring, if they can, I'm pretty sure it's going to have like a TD effect where, static will appear on the screen and they'll take damage over time. Although I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe if a survivor runs to the ring, then Crimson X will automatically teleport to them and just do extra damage. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen a survivor run into a ring though. Anyways, his last ability, Peekaboo. Basically, when being close enough to a survivor, which I'm pretty sure this is how this works, Crimson X will then flash the survivor's screen with, a bit of static, and then him and two other clones around him will appear and start taunting the survivor. Basically, what you have to do to avoid taking damage is you have to run into the correct Crimson X doing a different animation than the clones, and the ability will be canceled and Crimson X will be stunned. However, if you take too long, then you're going to take damage, and he's going to do the classic Sonic.exe animation where he kicks you on the floor and just smashes your face, smashes your heart in. I don't know why I said face. Now, as you guys have noticed, probably, there is actually a stamina meter next to the killer's icon and abilities here. This is actually something that I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not exactly 100% sure what it does. However, if you were to ask me, then I'm pretty sure, again, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this actually varies depending on your abilities and if you successfully land them, and if you miss them, then your stamina meter goes down and such. Although this is just, my speculation, I could be 100% wrong about this. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have for X and Crimson X ability-wise. But also a little fun fact, him and Furnace are the only two characters with completed skins. X having a 2011X skin for all my 2011X fans in the Soulless Sonic series, and Furnace actually just having a blue recolor skin reminding me of Furnace Overdrive mode, well, basically modern Furnace Overdrive mode that you see, that was planned for Outcome Memories and you see in the Sega Sonic Origins, so that's pretty cool. Now, moving on to the next character who I am 100% maining, Fleetway Super Sonic, who, fun fact, is actually voiced by the man, the GOAT himself, Dunkachi, who is pretty cool. I recommend go checking out his YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'll leave it in the description. And also, I'll leave a fellow YouTuber's video in the description that talks about Abyssal Escape, who is actually named Metallics. He also goes into, you know, what Abyssal Escape is about and all that, but also shows off survivor abilities and themes, which I'm not going to do in this video because there's a lot of survivor abilities. The best I can do is just show off what they have in the menu because I'm too lazy to do that. Currently, the only move we have about Fleetway for now is the fact that he will have a flight ability and not a passive. So all my Outcome Memories fans who hate, you know, passive flying abilities, there you go. Fleetway's gonna have it as an ability and not a passive. I know, it's such a breakthrough, yo. You're still not gonna be able to get away from him. Yeah, no, Fleetway's still gonna be crazy in this game, so don't get excited, my guy. Currently, what we know about Fleetway's flying ability is that he will charge up, fly in the air, and then have the ability to boost in the air and also indicate all survivors, which is another thing about killers. Every single killer will have some way of indicating survivors one way or another, so you can't hide from them forever, which is really cool because it just, again, feels like that you're being hunted down by these killers and you don't have control, which, again, something I really like because, you know, it's an Asym about Sonic.EXE, you know, where he's forcing you into a game. It's awesome. It's really cool. About Fleetway, once you press a button or you just, you know, freaking hit the ground or make contact, you will slam onto the ground and be able to deal damage to survivors nearby or cause a large AoE attack that, you know, destroys the ground for a little bit. Again, this is really cool. Shows off Fleetway's destructive power. I mess with it a lot. I'm gonna main this guy. You guys can't stop me. Oh yeah, something I saw in Dunkachi's videos that Fleetway was gonna have an ability called Chaos Laser. I'm not sure if this is still planned or this was scrapped or maybe this is just ability being worked on later. I'm not really sure. Now, moving on to No More Innocence. I'm gonna be honest, I have nothing about this guy. Ability-wise, of course. We already are aware that he is going to transform more and more during his Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3. Phase 1, where he starts off in his human form, actually, which I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed due to the render. Then Phase 2, his human form will probably, his human form pretty much, you know, looks more messed up and stuff. And finally, in Phase 3, he will transform into his, you know, famous Hedgehog form, which, you know, I find really cool. And also, I don't want to play as human form No More Innocence, so I'm probably... only time I'll ever play this guy is probably, I'll probably be camping. I'll probably be waiting just to wait to transform the Hedgehog form. Listen, nothing wrong with the human form, it's just... I don't like playing human characters in a Sonic game, unless it's like Eggman or something. I'm going off topic. Y'all understand what I mean, right? Now, moving on to Furnace for Abyssal Escape. Currently, his work in progress moves is going to be a passive and some abilities that we know at the moment. Obviously, we have an indicator move, and here is a little sneak peek for the visual for the move, because again, every killer is going to have an indicator. But also, Furnace passive is going to have something called a heat meter, which is going to fill up automatically over time slowly, but is also going to fill up from damaging survivors. I can only assume that this heat meter is possibly going to not only increase the damages of his M1, but also make his abilities, which is, will also increase the power of his other ability called Cook, which, well, I'm pretty sure you guys can assume what that is going to do. I mean, it's Furnace and the ability is called Cooked. Like put your two brain cells together, use common sense. As said before, remember guys, during different phases the killers are going to power up and get new abilities. So as said before, Furnace is one of those cases where he's also going to get new abilities. So what I talked about was just Phase 1. Well, I'm pretty sure it was Phase 1 where he has which I'm pretty sure was Phase 1. For Phase 2, his abilities are going to be Charge Heat. That way you can automatically charge heat, you know, automatically charge your heat meter, but also deal damage to survivors and charge it as well. But another thing is that he is going to have an ability called Claw Strike, which, you know, I'm showing here. This is basically where, you know, he lunges at survivors, you know, freaking bears his claws or whatever. Why am I talking like he's an animal? It basically just swipes at survivors with his, you know, metallic claws. It's gonna be really cool, I promise. Now, as for the third ability for Phase 2, we aren't exactly aware, but also here's what Furnace animation for Phase 3 is going to look like, where he just powers up the full, you know, he sparks up, going in overdrive mode, all really cool here. I'm sorry if I can't give proper descriptions, bro. Now, that's pretty much all we know about Furnace for now, because again, things are work in progress, and the main killer that is the most developed, if not already completed, I'm pretty sure, is X, and you know, can't wait to see what X is going to do, but I also want to see what the other killers are going to do. Now, let's move on to the final killer, 2017X, who actually has a completed moveset in a Google Doc that I have access to. Thank you, Denzi, by the way, you're the GOAT. So that means I get to share it with you guys. Let's go. Now, starting off with 2017X's passive, top speed, running for a certain amount of time to run even faster with a special animation set for a certain duration. This passive won't be available when he's in his beast form, because again, characters, you know, will be able to transform during phase 3, specifically No More Innocence, and 2017X is going to be really cool. Now, his M1 damage is going to be 20-25. This is to make up for the fact that he is definitely going to be the fastest killer in the game, because, you know, he's Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm pretty sure the only character that's going to have relative speed to him is Fleetway, because he's supersonic, but hey man, whatever. But I'm pretty sure Fleetway is, you know, going to only be faster than him with this flight, which, you know, makes sense. But anyways, overall, 2017X's moveset is to allow him to get closer to his survivor as many times as possible with his low damage M1, along with being more prediction and aim based. So, you know, 2017X is going to require skill. He's not just a, you know, high speed rush down killer. You know, you gotta actually do stuff. Anyways, ability 1, here we go. 2017X suddenly accelerates forward. He gets a very short windup before launching. During the launch, he moves extremely quickly. He can make a sharp turn once during the dash. Hitting survivors deals 15 to 20 damage. Oh my god. And causes 2017X to rebound slightly backward. Missing leaves him moving forward, allowing skilled players to continue their momentum. This cooldown is 15 seconds. So basically, again, you know, it's a move to keep pressure on survivors, you know, pretty fast move. Kind of like a boost if... kind of like a boost if you think about it, but yeah. Anyways, ability 2, here I come. 2017X curls into a ball and charges in place. The longer he charges, the more powerful the launch becomes. Short charge, quick burst of movement, low damage, which is 5 damage. Full charge, extremely fast launch, high damage, hits for 5 times equaling 25, so in total it does, you know, 25 damage. Can turn slightly while charging. Colliding with the survivor knocks him backwards. Hitting a wall causes him to bounce away instead of immediately stopping. A successful hit preserves some of his current top speed. Cooldown is 15 seconds. So basically, this is it kind of reminds me of TD Sonic.EXE spin dash, but actually more useful and successful if you think about it, because TD Sonic.EXE spin dash was kind of booty cheeks, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, but hey man, it's whatever. Anyways, ability 3 for phase 1. I see you, buddy. Oh my god, 2017X briefly locks onto the nearest survivor and becomes obsessed with chasing them. The target is highlighted to 2017X through walls for several seconds. 2017X gains an increased acceleration towards the marked survivor. If the survivor breaks the line of sight for long enough, the effect ends. Successfully hitting the marked survivor grants 2017X a short burst of speed. Cooldown is 35 seconds. I like that the cooldown is longer, that way you can't just constantly spam this and constantly lock on 2 survivors, but it does give 2017X, you know, more probability to chase, which is something I really like. Now, again, we already talked about the passive, so let's talk about phase 2, called Delusions Fading. Nice. His M1 damage increases to 35, his M1 speed is normal, and, you know, his speed stays the same because, you know, he's still Sonic. Ability 1, play along. Very similar to the base ability, but instead of doing chip damage if you hit, it grabs the survivor. He tries to crush their skull, doing 10 damage for 3 takes. Once the animation is over, the survivor will do an animation of them kicking 2017X off. If they are within kill range, 2017X just crushes their skull in his hands. Oh my god! Oh god. Okay, Sonic. Jesus Christ, bro. I thought we were friends. Oh my god. Ability 2, you're not getting away. Very similar to base ability 2, but with this, if you spin dash long enough, 2017X will enter an overdrive mode, forfeiting his original spin dash for an upgrade of 1 ability. Once the other ability is used, Jesus Christ. Once the other ability is used, all others no longer have the upgrade until you use the overdrive again. Cannot be used for spin dash, so basically he increases other ability stats, if I'm not mistaken. Ability 3, I see you. You know, another indicator one. Same as the base ability 3, but the range of it is larger. Once the closest target is highlighted, the 2017X is given a short 2-second speed boost for him to catch up. Okay, so basically, against like I see you, buddy, but you know, we get to better speed boost and the range is longer. I like this. Finally, for phase 3, broken faced. His M1 damage is 45 and his M1 speed is slow. He probably slows down a bit, but keeps relatively some of his same speed, but whatever. Ability 1, shattered perspective. 2017X swipes his arm forward. If it connects with the survivor, he grabs them by the leg, then smashes them against the floor before tossing them to the side. Slams twice, doing 20 damage each time. So yeah. Ability 2, subterfuge. Oh my god, he set the thing! The thing from the thing! I know that thing! It's the thing, guys! It's the thing! 2017X does a small post before leaping forward. A small AoE bubble will appear around them. If a survivor is within this range, then they will take 10 damage and be ragdolled for a short time. Ability 3, Roar. 2017X quickly roars, highlighting survivors around him. If they are close enough, they will be slightly blinded for a short bit. So basically, you know, another indicator passive, but also affects the survivors by blinding them. I like this. Anyways, passive. Broken face. The longer 2017X is in this form, the quicker the animations of his abilities are, allowing him to be the hunter. Allowing him to be on the hunt quicker after using one, along with slightly shortening ability times as well. Okay, so as y'all can tell, 2017X is going to be an extremely aggressive and fast-paced killer, which is, you know, why I'm going to main this guy. So, you know, survivors, they aren't going to have it easy around me specifically. I'm going to be a demon on the court when I get the 2017X. Trust me. But yeah, overall, I like this ability. Well, I like his entire thing because it's very, very cool. Because it's Jesus Christ. I really like the fact that, again, he keeps pressure on the survivors constantly, and there's like no way to hide from this guy. I mean, there is, but he will eventually find you. It's just so freaking cool. Although 2017X, his base model is going to get a remodel. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I'll probably put it on text because editor me is the GOAT. He is going to get a slight remodel if I'm not mistaken, but don't worry, you know, he's still going to be 2017X. He's still going to be Sonic. It's going to be really cool, trust. Anyways, that's pretty much all the abilities we have for killers for right now, and that's all the information I can give. Now, for survivors, I already said they're going to get custom abilities, and there is a lot of custom abilities, and I do not feel like naming them all because that's going to take too long. So I'm probably just going to put it on screen for a couple. For you guys to figure out what the survivor abilities are, or you guys can, you know, go to the Discord server for Abyssal Escape, link down below, and also other things in the description. You know, my Discord server, other YouTube videos talking about it. It's going to be really cool, trust me. Now, moving on to other things about the game that is actually very important and I want you guys to stay for. Now, starting with the FAQ. Question: when game release? A, never. Whenever I feel it fits. So basically, you know, the game is gonna release when it's, you know, pretty much complete, obviously. Q, can I play as a certain character, or will you add certain character as a survivor? As said before, you can customize your own survivor to be a canon Sonic character, because, you know, this is, you know, the entire gimmick for survivors. Question: can you add character as a killer? Answer: are they related to EXE/Sonic? Are they known? Do they have a good standing in the community? If yes, then yes. If no, then no. Other characters, EXE adaptations do not count. I don't freaking know, like Toy Story.exe. So basically no parodies and, you know, no controversial EXEs, etc, etc. You already know. Question: what are phases? As talked about before. The game's phase will change the more time goes on. Max is 3 phases. If the killer... Hold on. It makes the killer stronger and sometimes may change their model, animations, and or abilities. Question: will you be able to kill the killers? Don't be silly. Killers, i.e. Fleetway, are not dying to a bunch of no-name Mobians.
Wow, look at Chuckles Knuckles over here.
What the heck are you even doing here?
What are you talking about? I was never here.
What the Oh yeah, about the game, a little bit more about the game. As you know, it's inspired by games like other Asym games like TD, Pillar Chase, etc. So it's going to have an element like TD, where survivors, when they die, instead of spectating, are actually going to become minions, which I'm pretty sure is a mechanic going to be implemented. Although Denzi did say it was going to be discussed by other devs, so, you know, maybe I'm wrong here. But that is what, you know, the poll said as people voted for minions. Now, in my opinion, is this a good idea? Sort of. As long as minions are really weak, then I don't really have a problem. It's just the main thing with killers being stronger. It's just something to talk about. But hey, it's a cool feature at least. Now, jumps for survivors are going to have cooldowns. As you can see here, you know, survivors will be able to jump, but it's going to have cooldowns. Thank God, because I don't want to deal with the survivor spamming the jump button constantly. Eggman from Outcome. Now, my final thing I want to talk about the game, even though there is so much more to talk about, but this video is going to run on for like a billion hours if I say a lot. Now, I know a lot of you are tired of bad hitboxes from Asym games and stuff like that, you know, where it's just dragging behind the survivor and isn't accurate. Well, guess what? This Asym game actually has completely accurate hitboxes. Well, I wouldn't say completely accurate, but still. The hitboxes are still very good from what was being shown. I'm just going to show it off here. Denzi and the other devs have been working on a feature where hitboxes are actually accurate, no matter if you are like above 100 ping and stuff like that. Although it does, like, you know, have some issues because, you know, not every ping is perfect. I just wanted to show it off here. It's better if I just show y'all. Like, hitbox optimization in this game is going to be great. So you're actually going to have to hit the survivors and not 20 miles behind them. This is going to be absolute cinema, and especially with Roblox's new update where you can search for servers with better latency. Oh my God, it's perfect. Jesus Christ. Also, Denzi, can I play Abyssal Escape again? I'm bored. Now, that is pretty much all I pretty much have to say about Abyssal Escape. Again, another YouTuber, Metallics and Denkachi have discussed Abyssal Escape before, so if you want to check out those videos to see more information, go check it out. But if you want like better information other than this video, then I highly suggest joining the Discord server for Abyssal Escape or watching other videos about it. Again, everything will be in the description. Thank you to Julius, Vios, and others for voicing 2011X for that stupid little bit here. I have been K-Boy Ultra. I'm gonna check out more Asym games to talk about in future videos and do other stuff. You know, the grind doesn't stop. I'm gonna see you all later. Goodbye. Love y'all. Subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. Bye, guys. Bye. Also, I'm still shooting my shot to voice the classic skin for Fleetway. Listen, if 2011 gets to have a voice, I know, listen, I know classic Fleetway and this version of Fleetway are basically the same thing, but come on, man, come on, it's classic, bro. Yo, you can't tell me that classic Sonic and modern Sonic have the same, but bro, like, listen.